I'll start tonight with everything that happened in Atlanta this weekend. Not with the Falcons, because the Falcons were on the road yet again, but with the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. If you guys don't know what happened, I don't know what rock you've been hiding under, but Colin Kaepernick was given a workout by the NFL where all 32 teams were invited, whether they want to attend or not. That was up to them. Kaepernick was given 48 hours notice to accept the terms that the NFL has given, which was on a ridiculous day of a Saturday when no GMs or head coaches or anybody of higher up personnel would be able to get there besides scouts. The NFL did everything in their power to set Colin Kaepernick up to fail. I don't think anybody can deny that. Everything from no media being involved. Why was there no media being involved? Anything from not being able to shoot it himself. Okay, I'm sorry. That's okay. No media involved. Don't know why the media can't be involved. At a combine, there's media everywhere. It's televised. The NFL wanted to do whatever the NFL wanted to do there. Why was Colin Kaepernick not allowed to shoot the thing himself? They wouldn't even let his camp shoot it. The waiver actually came out today. That waiver is something that no player is ever going to sign. Especially a player that has gone through what Colin Kaepernick has. No matter what you think about Colin Kaepernick, no matter if you like Colin Kaepernick, no matter if you hate Colin Kaepernick for what he did about kneeling, it is out there. It is proven. He's been paid by the NFL. There's been emails to prove it. He's been blackballed from the NFL for 3 years. People that hate Colin Kaepernick, they want the narrative out there that he's just not that good. But there is literal email proof, and the NFL paid him to go away, basically admitting that owners were colluding and blackballing him from the league. There is all the proof in the world. Everybody that hates Kaepernick wants you to think one thing. People that love Kaepernick want you to think the other. But if you look at just straight facts, that's what's happening. Now, is this the NFL's way of making it up to him? Like, hey, we'll give you a little combine, you know what I mean? We'll give you a combine, we'll cut the video, we'll send that video, and then we'll send it to you. So Colin Kaepernick's crew had no choice in the matter of how the video got cut. Colin Kaepernick had no proof of going to the media to say how it went. Not all 32 teams showed up, right? So Colin Kaepernick, in what I believe was a super smart idea by him, basically called the NFL's bluff of using him as a PR stunt and changed locations, allowing all the media to come, allowing him to shoot it, allowing him to use his own receivers, basically allowing everything. And for all the people that hate Colin Kaepernick, all you need to know about teams wanting him in the NFL is that 8 teams still showed up to his workout. And we'll get into what that workout was. But 8 teams still showed up to watch him work out. Teams want Colin Kaepernick. Teams don't want the baggage that comes with Colin Kaepernick. And that was proven this weekend by at least 8 teams. 25 were going to go to the NFL PR stunt that they were trying to pull with Colin Kaepernick. Because a lot of teams were just going to show up to show up. I mean, obviously there were teams out there that were like, no, we want nothing to do with this guy. But 8 teams were so dedicated to see what this guy's got that they showed up. Which brings me to my next point. Why does Colin Kaepernick want to be in the NFL? There's all these rumors out there that he doesn't want to be in the NFL. I mean, that's hogwash. If he didn't want to be in the NFL, he wouldn't be doing this. Yes, he's getting publicity. Yes, he's staying in the news. He's got the money. He's got the Nike deals. He wants to be in the NFL. I think there's no doubt about that. But why? So basically, what this weekend showed is Colin Kaepernick, rightfully so, does not trust the NFL and their higher-ups. And he's got all the right in the world to not trust them. We can list off numerous reasons why he should not trust the NFL. But why play for a league that you don't trust? And then you hear the comments of, well, he's not playing for the league, he's playing for the teams. Well, those teams ultimately report to the league. So that's where I get confused, and that's where I get a little upset. I've been a Cap, full disclosure, I've been a Cap supporter ever since it happened. I'm all for people nonviolently protesting to do whatever they want to get a message across that is a clear problem in this country. And if you don't think it's a clear problem, you're either arrogant or you're walking through this world blind. But what I have a problem is why does he want to play? All we hear is he wants, like, that would be the equivalent of me not trusting my boss, but then going into work every day, getting let go from work, and then basically begging my boss, who I don't even trust, to give me a job back. And maybe it's my regional director that I don't like and I don't trust. And I'm begging my boss, who reports to my regional and listens to my regional. The whole thing is really, really weird. But what I'm trying to figure out is the NFL is saying that they're setting them up to succeed and they're setting them up to all of this. Why was the media not invited? Why was the media not invited? I don't get it. I haven't seen a reason why. And that is just frightening to me about how they're using this guy, who, I mean, is a human being, right? And they are using him. What they're trying to do is keep him out of the NFL at all costs because they don't want the baggage. Yes, he hasn't said he's not going to knee again. But has the world got better in the last 3 years? I don't really think so. But now to the workout. That workout was a complete joke. It was literally him and a couple of his boys sitting out there playing catch. His interview was non-existent. He led off with a stop running. I get it. No one's ever questioned. Well, to be fair, there's a lot of people not in the media, a lot of non-NFL scouts, because every NFL scout's going to tell you he's good enough to be in the league. But there has been so many people that are saying he's just not good because he played on a crap team. Colin Kaepernick has one of the best touchdown to interception ratios in NFL history. Colin Kaepernick went to 3 straight NFC championships, including 1 Super Bowl where he was 2 yards away from winning the dang thing. Cap can play. But that workout, what is that going to prove? Everybody knows that Cap can play. Everybody knows Cap can throw a deep ball. It's accuracy that's a problem. Reading coverages has sometimes been a problem. His athleticism has never been questioned. And that interview was so big on Saturday. And it was non-existent. And then the NFL releases a little press release talking about all the things they tried to do for Kaepernick. Basically, to me, all that came off is Colin Kaepernick beat the NFL at their own game. Colin Kaepernick called the NFL's bluff, and the NFL hated it. And all of these owners, or all of these scouts that were going to be there on such the great day that the NFL planned for this to happen, in week 11, mind you, Kaepernick won. I don't think Kaepernick's ever going to play in the league again. And I'm not quite sure if that's a bad thing. And then I hear the shirt that he chose to wear. Oh, people aren't going to like that. You're right. People aren't going to like that. Yeah, rich billionaire owners aren't going to like the fact that he's wearing something to support black people. That's who's not going to like that. Big deal. He wore a shirt about, I don't know, one of the most famous slaves in NFL history, or in NFL, sorry, in U.S. Well, I don't know if you want to call it U.S. history. Like, if you're going to question the shirt, you need to question your own innards before you make a comment. Because there's nothing wrong with that shirt at all. People that want to keep the African American people down are the ones that are going to have a problem with that shirt. This whole weekend was started by the NFL as a joke, and it turned into one heck of a wild ride. And I don't know if that hurt Cap. I don't know if that helped Cap. I'm leaning more towards the hurt. All I know is we got plenty of entertainment from the weekend. Nothing's going to be resolved. And I actually think the NFL comes out of this looking much worse than Colin Kaepernick does. I heard him just had a chance to say hi. Yo, Slick, hello. Welcome in, buddy. Welcome in. Slick, my day was good, man. How was your Monday? Feeling sexy. Oh, Tim's feeling sexy. Monday has been okay so far. Thankfully, it's almost over. At work. Don't you still got like 3 hours of work left, Slick? I guess that's almost over. That's where you think Simons does this portion of the stream without a cam? Bro, Slick, I don't have a shirt or pants on, brother. I don't have a shirt or pants on. I picture him putting lipstick on. Yeah, it's kind of like that Billy Madison scene with Steve Buscemi. You guys want to make sure if you've ever done me wrong, you want to tell me right now. You want to tell me right now as I'm putting on this lipstick because I'm marking you off the list. I'm marking you off the list, chat. Yo, Chris M. What's going on, buddy? What's going on? I'm just ranting and raving about... I'm ranting and raving about Kaepernick, and Slick's over here giving up my secrets about how I stream naked during this portion because I don't have my cam on. And, you know, I mean, I don't even know how he knows. He must have a cam somewhere else. All right, I'm going to go into my second rant here, by the way. I know, but like I'm trying... I guess I could have phrased that better, Slick. I know that. Just like the island is technically like an island to which he was named. I don't know. The island is real, right? If I remember correctly. My history isn't great on that. The character is from Roots. I know that. But it's like a figure. You know what? Maybe I didn't explain that right. The island, I believe, is real that the fictional character was named after in the movie and show Roots. All that, but yeah. I guess I could have preferenced it with I knew he was a fictional character. But yo, Chris M, I hope your weekend's good, man. I hope your Monday's good. Let me get into a second rant here. What the hell did we see in Minneapolis this weekend? 20-0 was the halftime score of the 3-6 Denver Broncos versus the 7-3 Minnesota Vikings. 20-0. Cousins did nothing. Cook did nothing. That defense couldn't stop Denver. No one saw that coming. If anybody saw that coming, they're just straight up lying to you. And if you believe them, they probably got a bridge somewhere to sell you. 20-0. I don't know what that halftime motivational speech was. I don't know if there was stuff being thrown around. I don't know who the heck gave the speech, whether it was Kirk Cousins, maybe it was Stephon Diggs, maybe it was Dalvin Cook, maybe it was a numerous amount of coaches. I don't know what happened. All I know is the Minnesota Vikings came out after halftime. And here's their drives. 9 plays, 75 yards, in 3 minutes, 31 seconds, touchdown.
You can run a marathon.
Oh, chat, I thought I muted this. 18 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 3 plays, 62 yards, touchdown. 5 plays, 67 yards, touchdown. Boom, just like that, they're up 27-23. They had 4 possessions in the second half. The Minnesota Vikings, who did not score a point in the first half, scored on every possession of the second half. The Minnesota Vikings had 279 yards of offense in the second half alone. 279 in 2 quarters. If anybody watched that game, Kirk Cousins on that 3-play, 62-yard, 35-second drive that they had to make the game a one-score game, 23-20. Hits Diggs for, I want to say it was about 53 yards. Let's find out exactly what that was. I believe it was 53. 54 yards. All Diggs did was run a post And he just ran right by two guys, and Cousins threw a perfect, not a good, not a great, a perfect pass to bring the score to a one-score game. The Minnesota Vikings rely on two things. They rely on their defense. Gave up 20 in the first half to Denver. They really didn't show up. They rely on Dalvin Cook. Arguably the best running back in the NFL, right? Dalvin Cook had 11 carries for 26 yards in this game. The Minnesota Vikings won a game where their defense gave up 23 points to the Denver Broncos, and Dalvin Cook had 11 carries for 26 yards. I've always been a supporter of Kirk Cousins. I get he's not that great. He's a fantasy quarterback. He's a stat stuffer, everything like that. I get it. Kirk Cousins is an above-average quarterback. He just makes stupid decisions, so people discredit him. But this game alone, this comeback. Chad, let me ask you a question. There's been 99 teams in the last 5 years that have trailed at halftime by 20 points or more before yesterday's game. How many games do you think those teams won? In the last 5 years, there has been 99 instances where one team trailed at halftime by 20 plus points. If you answered 0, you're right. History was made in Minnesota. 1 in 99 now, baby. Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota-led Vikings. Minnesota and the Kirk Cousins-led Vikings became the first team in 5 years to win a game trailing by 20 at the half. And their defense only gave up 3 points in the second half. But they gave up 12 plays, 52 yards, and a field goal. 3 plays, 4 yards. 6 plays, 50 yards, didn't lead to a point. And 19 plays, 56 yards in 8 minutes to end the game, where they needed 3 straight stops in the end zone to seal the win. The Minnesota Vikings made history, and it 100% fell on Kirk Cousins and whoever the hell gave that halftime speech. You were going to guess 13. Solid guess, Slick. 13 is a solid guess. Sounds like my team, but they would have... Sounds like your team, except they would have been on the other side. Aren't you a Bills fan? Sounds like my team, but they would have been the ones giving up. Okay. I mean, as a Bills fan, you got to be elated right now, right? I mean, they're almost to the point now where... playoffs are dang near almost a lock, right? I mean, you got 7 wins. Well, they get to play the Broncos next week. See, I mean, the Broncos are willing to give up 20-point leads. They get their schedule, they get the Broncos at home. That should be a win. At the Cowboys, home against the Ravens, at the Steelers, at Patriots, home against the Jets. Yeah, the absolute worst the Bills are going to do is win 9 games. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. 9 games is going to get you in the playoffs in the AFC. I think they're a lock at this point because they're going to beat the Jets and they're going to beat the Broncos. If they could steal one more win in that Cowboys, Ravens, Steelers, Patriots, they're going to be 10 wins. I mean, they're going to be 10 wins. And that's an absolute guarantee. I think 9 gets the job done. I mean, obviously, any team's going to be happy being 7-3, right? At this point, if you could tell everybody before the season you're going to be 7-3 and in the playoff hunt, everyone's going to take that. You know what I mean? So, as a Bills fan, I'd be elated right now. I'd be slamming people through tables right now if I was a Bills fan. Still thinking Jags are going to be, slick. Yeah, the Ravens-Pats are going to make or break it. Yeah, if you could beat the Steelers, though. Think about that. If you can win one of those 2 games against the Cowboys-Steelers, that's 10 wins, man. I mean, if you could beat the Pats and one of those other ones, then you're talking 11 wins. Then you're talking possible division, because the Patriots are going to lose some games, especially if that wins against the Patriots. We'll see. I mean, the schedule's not easy. The schedule's definitely not easy. But as a Bills fan, I'd be good. Still thinking the Jags are going to win the division. I am not. All right? All right. Can we preference this with, I said the Jags are going to win the division because of the odds I got. You could have got them at plus 350 odds. The scary part is the Jags are only 2 games out of the division now. The problem is the Colts own the tiebreaker. So, they're technically 3 games out of the division lead right now. Brissett came back. I have some on the Colts later. Brissett came back, and boom, there we go. Nick Foles came back that first drive, threw a touchdown to DJ Shark. I was like, oh shit, here comes Jacksonville. The Jags are going to do it. And then the rest of the game happened, especially the second half when they got outscored 23-6. And that 6 came, I believe, at the very end of the game for the Jaguars. I believe it was 31-7. My defense just needs it. Yeah. That Bills defense shows up. That Bills defense is good. What was it? You know what? I never even checked. Or I should say checked. What was the score of that Patriots game? Because those are too good. Yeah, 16-10. That's about what I thought that Patriots score would be. 16-10 makes sense with those 2 defenses. I mean, we could sit here and we could make fun of the Denver Broncos the whole night, because I think that would be kind of fun. But they're humans. You know what I mean? Mistakes happen. I mean, being the only one out of 100 in the last 5 years, I mean, that's a little bit more than a mistake, right? But we can move on to a team that blew just a little bit less of a lead. That's the Arizona Cardinals. I'm here to tell you, Kyler Murray is the real deal. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is the real deal as well. I think that's a good combo. The Cardinals have no defense. But that Cardinals offense, Larry Fitzgerald's going to play till he's, 107, I think. Larry Fitzgerald's going to have like 42,000 career catches by the time he's done, because he's going to play forever. That dude still looks like he's 19 years old. Granted, he doesn't have the speed anymore and things like that, but he could become a possession receiver like Anquan Boldin was to him. You know what I mean? The Cardinals have the perfect run offense to combat what I believe the second best defense in the NFL in the Niners. They throw quick screen passes, they've got a mobile quarterback, and they throw a lot of outs. The Niners have easily the best pass rush in the NFL. Took a little bit of a hit last game with Dee Ford being hurt. But between Dee Ford, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Buckner, well, Quan Alexander's also hurt, they have arguably, and in my mind, the best pass rush in the NFL. Quick screens, quick outs, QB runs. That's how you negate a good pass rush. I don't think Richard Sherman's ever been called for 3 pass interference calls in a game in his life. He got it. And you know what happened in this game, Chad? So I'm sure most of you didn't watch it, as it is in a prime game. But there was a non-called defensive pass interference that got overturned by replay. Don't know how many times we've seen that this year. Showed up, Richard Sherman. It was pass interference. To be honest, it was pass interference, but they never get overturned. Just look at that Baltimore Texans game. I'm pretty sure DeAndre Hopkins got violated in the end zone. And they didn't overturn it. But the 49ers had 11 players on the injury report. They had another 3 players already out for the year that don't even show up on the injury report because they're out for the year. In this game, they lost their number 1 wide receiver in Emmanuel Sanders, who got hurt for the second game in a row. They lost their corner for about a quarter and a half. He did come back later in the game. And they lost the before-mentioned Dee Ford, one of their pass rushers. So if you take those 3 out, combined with the 3 already out, that's 6. Plus, on that injury report, 5 of the 11 players didn't play. That's 11. So you had 11 people out of that game. And another 5 playing that game injured. Lied. Another 4. because Emmanuel Sanders was on there as injured, but he ended up getting knocked out of the game. That win and that comeback, Niners were down 16-0 in that game. Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners did absolutely nothing on the ground. The Niners are very, very much like the Vikings. They rely on a great run game, who, by the way, they're missing their number one running back, and their left tackle, and the defense. The defense just has troubles against Kyler Murray and Zona. The running backs combined had 18 carries for 27 yards. Jimmy G put this team on his back. 34 of 45, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Both interceptions were his fault. One of them was one of the most atrocious interceptions I've ever seen. On the 2-yard line of Arizona, he threw it directly at a linebacker. There wasn't even a guy around. He apparently just couldn't see a giant white jersey. No idea what happened there. Jeff Wilson Jr. played 1 offensive snap in this game, Chad. He played 1 offensive snap. Jeff Wilson Jr. came in for that 1 offensive snap, ran a fake out, turned it upfield, caught the game-winning touchdown. 1 snap, 1 catch, 25 yards, game-winning touchdown. It's called efficient, Chad. It's called efficient. Also in this game, you saw one of the craziest bad beats you can ever see in an NFL betting set. Not even NFL. In a betting setting. San Francisco was laying 10. Money was heavy. And I mean heavy on the Cardinals plus 10 in this game. It started higher than 10. It got bet down to 10. Cardinals plus 10. The last play of the game. The Cardinals throw the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. He turns around, throws it to some fat guy. Fat guy obviously doesn't catch it. The ball's going around. It's getting kicked everywhere. It's getting hit everywhere. The Niners scoop and score as time expires. Niners won the game by 10. Again, heavy money was on the Cardinals in this game. Plus 10. Guess who won that day? Vegas won that day. Unless you got in early and you got the Cardinals at like plus 11, plus 10.5. Vegas won. They just took the vig from everybody. 49ers, minus 10, push. Cardinals, plus 10, push. The only thing that could have made that worse was if the Niners were allowed to kick the extra point and they won the game by 11. Then you would have had people lose their bet instead of chop their bet and just lose the 10%. So 2 huge blown leads in the NFL. I get everyone's talking about the Broncos. And most people weren't watching that Niners-Cardinals game. A lot of people aren't on the Niners yet. A lot of people still think they're scams next week. Here's the thing with the Niners. Everyone thinks the Niners are a scam. I literally heard a radio station today on Mad Dog Radio say that the Niners weren't even Super Bowl contenders. That's how little they think of him. But what's going to happen if they beat the Packers next week? All these teams are going to be like, oh, the Niners are good. They beat the Packers. Oh, they're good. They're a Super Bowl contender. Can't doubt them now. Literally 1 game, and all of a sudden they're Super Bowl contenders because 9-1 wasn't enough to do it with half their team injured. I'm telling you, chat, believe this Niners team. They're legit. They're for real. You know who else is legit and real? That Baltimore Ravens team. Is Baltimore the best team in the NFL? It's hard to argue against it, right? They're 8-2. They have one absolutely atrocious loss against the Cleveland Browns. And then they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes healthy. But other than those 2 losses, no one's got a better... If this was college football, no one's got a better, air quote, resume than Baltimore does. In the last 4 weeks alone, Baltimore has beat Seattle in Seattle with Russell Wilson. They beat New England. And yesterday they beat the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. Not only did the Baltimore Ravens win those 3 games, the Baltimore Ravens won those 3 games all by 14 plus. They beat Seattle in Seattle by 14. They beat New England at home by 17. And they beat the Houston Texans so bad that the TV stations switched games because they weren't going to play that massacre. 41-7. And as I'm sure Slick knows, that loss by the Texans, that moves the Colts into first place in the AFC South. Which is weird, chat. Why are the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC South? Has anybody ever been like, yeah, I'm heading down south. We're going to go to Indianapolis. Okay, maybe the people in Michigan. The one state above them. Like, the NFL is so weird. The NFL is so weird with all of these alignments. They're on a roll. They're on a roll next week. They'll show the world. Who's that? Baltimore? Who they got next week? Baltimore's got the Rams next week, right? Next Monday, I think. Yeah. Yeah, they got the Rams next Monday, and then they get the Niners. No. So, like, what did you say the Colts would win? 10? Was that 10 games? I know we looked at the schedule like 3 weeks back, and I saw 9 wins out of them. They get at the Texans, home Titans, at the Buccaneers, at the Saints, home Panthers, at the Jaguars. They could get there. I could see 4 in there. Titans, Buccaneers, Panthers, Jaguars. I don't see them beating the Texans or the Saints at Houston or at New Orleans. You need them to win all 4. You need them to beat at Jacksonville, at Tampa Bay, home Titans, home Panthers. You need all those to get there. It's possible. It is very possible. Lamar Jackson is actually... Interesting stat. Lamar Jackson, for the first time all year, is now the Vegas MVP odds favorite. Yo, sounds good, Slick. He's plus 140. And next, he just passed Russell Wilson, who's plus 200. Russell Wilson's still got a couple games left that are pretty easy. But the Seahawks, I also learned yesterday that from week 12 through week 17, so the final 6 weeks of the year, the NFC West, Rams, Niners, Cardinals, Seahawks, have 4 of the 5 hardest schedules. Like, their strength of schedule is 4 out of the 5 hardest. With the 49ers having the hardest strength of schedule, and I believe Seattle has the second hardest strength of schedule. Or maybe it was the Rams. Cardinals are 5th, I know that. And I don't know if anybody saw this. I mean, there were videos going around. The videos weren't as predominant as other videos and things like that. But Mark Ingram gave Lamar Jackson at the press conference one of the craziest hype entrances I've ever seen for a player to another player, and insisted that if anyone does not think Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the NFL, he will fight them. He literally said where to be, and he will fight them. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was absolutely incredible. And we got a kickoff. We got a kickoff in the football game. Chargers are starting at their own 23. This is a huge game. This is a huge game. If the Chiefs lose this game, I'm pretty sure it does, chat. If the Chiefs lose this game, the Oakland Raiders are in first place in the AFC West. Can you imagine that the Oakland Raiders, the soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders, will be first place in the AFC West if the Chargers can somehow pull this game out? That's bonkers to me. There's also been a video going around today that's made me kind of sad. And it has to do with the Washington Redskins. Are the Washington Redskins the worst franchise in all of sports? I hear the Knicks. I hear the Jets. I hear all of these different teams. The Jets actually had a claim, I think. The Jets are the team that paid a running back, arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL, $55, $60 million, and they refused to use him. A team that paid a running back top dollar, which very few teams do, and don't utilize him, is somehow a better run franchise than the Washington Redskins. The Jets came into Washington and put a whooping on the Redskins, 34-17. The Redskins scored 14 of their 17 in the fourth quarter. Sam Darnold looked like vintage in his prime Tom Brady, with basically 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. But that isn't the problem. The Redskins, we all know, are a joke. They let Cousins go for God knows what reason. But then this video came out today. If you haven't seen the video, I would urge you to just go to your Google, go to your Microsoft Edge if that's what you want to use. If you're still using Internet Explorer, this probably isn't for you. The internet's probably just not for you. Use your Firefox, your Google Chrome, and type in Haskins offensive line, and that's probably going to be enough to get it to you. There's a video surfacing of Haskins pleading, begging his offensive line to block for him. The man sounded like he was close to tears begging these offensive linemen. You know what's even better about Dwayne Haskins at this point? Not only he did not yell at his offensive linemen. He asked them what he could do to help them block better. Everybody knows he's a rookie. It's like his second career start. He won a lot of games in college. This man was asking how he could help an offensive lineman that was refusing to block for him, how he could help him. Their left tackle took it upon himself to roll his eyes, smirk, and give a little chuckle. It wasn't a full-on laugh. It was a little chuckle. Not only that, he refused to make eye contact. These linemen did not say a word back. There's rumors out there that they were laughing at him and stuff. They weren't laughing. But you don't have to laugh to be a dick. You don't have to laugh to be unprofessional. The way they rolled their eyes, the way only half of them even looked at him, as this man's pleading just to do their job and block so he doesn't get hurt. It is one of... I felt for this guy. It was sad. And guess what? It didn't work. Haskins is... We're never... I think it's similar to Rosen. We're never going to know exactly how good Haskins is because he is set up to fail. If you can't even get your offensive lineman to block for you without them carrying, you are in a system where you are set up to fail. And I feel terribly for the kid. Raiders are better than the Steelers? Bro, man. Well, okay, so This isn't just for you. This is for all of Steelers fans. Because, I'm sure there's thousands of them listening to me right now, right? But the Steelers, the Steelers are are they 5-5 or 5-6? I think they're 5-5, right? They're 5-5 with Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. And really no number one wide receiver. You can say whatever you want about Juju Smith-Schuster. That guy feasted off Antonio Brown, getting him wide open. Juju's a hell of a number 2, but Juju's not a number 1. Not yet. I'm not saying he can't get there because he's an athletic freak, right? But you're 5-5 with a backup quarterback. And at one point, you had your third-string quarterback in some dude from, I don't even know where. Where was he, like, friggin' Cabins of Vermont or something like that? FaZe Juju? No way. Is he actually with FaZe Clan? Did he actually sign with FaZe? No way. No way. That'd be hilarious, though. He's obviously a big gamer. That's hilarious if it is. But as a Steelers fan, yeah, you're never going to be, like, super happy, right? Not winning games. But at the same point, it is what it is, and unfortunately the injury bug gets you. There were some big winners of the weekend. We've discussed some of them. One of them is Slick Skies. And as I mentioned before, Brissett came back, and they just absolutely steamrolled the Jaguars. However, in the game, Marlon Mack did break his hand. Don't know if I think that's going to be a huge loss. Sounds good, Bullets. That's going to be a huge loss. But as long as Brissett's in there, they get T.Y. Hilton back in a couple, they'll be good. They'll be all right. The Rams with a huge win against the helpless, hopeless Mitchell Trubisky-led Bears, keeping them in the playoff hunt. As I mentioned, the Oakland Raiders are in the playoffs as of right now. And an LA Chargers win, just like that, they're not in the playoffs. They're winning the division. And the Dallas Cowboys, they stay in the playoff hunt with Dak Prescott throwing for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Prescott's going to get paid, chat. At this point, I don't even know if you can disagree with it. He beats up on bad teams. He loves to score a lot of points against bad teams. And he loves to throw for a lot of yards against bad teams. But at some point, the only person, I actually heard this on the radio, credit to Nick Wright, I heard on the radio, the only person averaging more yards passing per game than Dak Prescott is Patrick Mahomes. That's in the NFL. Prescott's putting on a show. Chat, also, I don't know if you guys were here a couple weeks ago. I think it's when Builderman was in here. Is it statistically possible for the Atlanta Falcons to make the playoffs? It can't be, right? Because I think my wife would be a little bit upset if they make the playoffs and I have to do 20 shirt giveaways. That's a lot of money, chat. It's got to be statistically impossible for them to make the playoffs at this point with only getting 9 wins, right? It's got to be. Their max wins is 9. There's no way. It's got to be statistically impossible at this point. Even if they go 9-7, there's no way they can make it, right? You've got Seattle, Minnesota, Green Bay, the Niners, and the Rams. Or the Niners and the Saints all only have to win 2 games, and then it's statistically impossible. So let's pull for those teams. Or 1 Falcons loss, and it's statistically impossible. So we need all those teams to win 2 games, or the Falcons just to lose 1. We're going to end tonight with who I feel are the Super Bowl contenders. And if you want to give yours as well in chat, by all means. I think there's 7 teams that could potentially win the Super Bowl this year. Well, technically in 2020, but this season. The New England Patriots, the San Francisco 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Green Bay Packers, Baltimore Ravens, the good old NOLA Saints, and Skol Vikings. Those 7 teams, again, the New England Patriots, the Green Bay Packers, San Francisco 49ers, Seattle, Baltimore, New Orleans, and Minnesota are the 7 teams I think that have a chance to win it all. I am going to preference that with there is an 8th team that just got their quarterback healthy in Patty Mahomes. Their defense is atrocious. The defense is arguably one of the worst in the NFL. But they got Patty Mahomes. And as long as you got Patty Mahomes, you got a shot. So again, I believe there's 7 teams that could win the Super Bowl. And if you ask me again in a week and a half, it may be 8 with Kansas City.